Hey everyone, this is J-Dog, and I'm here with another video. Well, one thing that the black community needs to start doing now, if they're going to fight against racism, is to be able to defend yourselves. Because the white racists, the white supremacists, they're not playing out here. They are really trying to get rid of us off the face of the earth. And some black people are just playing around. Meanwhile, we have racists, white supremacists. They ain't just getting guns to try to kill us. They're actually getting military training. Now here's a couple things I wanted to show you, a couple of stories. For example, one is this right here. White supremacists are now receiving military training from Texas Marine veteran. You have a veteran named Eric Sailors who is offering white nationalists military training in MMA and many types of hand-to-hand combat, and I bet you, and weapons combat too. I don't even need to read this. Because there's actually multiple articles. There's multiple articles or stories that I might not have to read the whole articles of. But this, I mean, the title alone tells me enough. And if you think that stuff like this is just only happening here in America, well, you are wrong. It's happening in other nations. Racism is worldwide. I say this is because this person on Twitter by Huey Collide X and maybe retweeted by Randy Townsend is talking about what's happening in South Africa. As you know, the South African president, the new recent one, has decided to strip white farmers of the land because they're now trying to fight to get the land back to the native black Africans who years ago had their land stolen by the invasion of the European settlers, and then of course there was apartheid. But now there's a president, a black president, that is fighting to help get reparations for the people, for the Africans of South Africa, and to get them their land back. However, a lot of the racist whites there, including some of the white farmers, are trying to fight back against this. First of all, these white farmers, these white racists need to get out of South Africa. That is not your land. You stole that land. As for any white South Africans that happen to hear this, you stole the land. You need to leave. You tell, here in America, you have racists telling black people to go back to Africa. Well, won't those same racists tell their white their white friends over in South Africa to go get out of Africa and go back to Europe? Oh, and to make things worse, they're getting training from the Israeli Special Forces. That's right. Now, Israel is racist. Well, at least their leadership over there is very racist towards black people. I mean, look what's happening in Israel. They're not just disrespecting the Palestinians, but I mean, you know the reason why they're going after Palestine is because the Palestine are Arab and the Israelis are Jewish. But they're also the Israelis. They're targeting African immigrants that happen to be there. They're kicking them out. They're trying to kick them out of the nation. They're sterilizing them so they can't reproduce. And they're just simply throwing them to jail or killing them off. Because they don't want them there. Even though I hear in ancient times, Israel was actually had to, the black Jews, the Hebrews there. And they were stripped of the land away. And now you see a lot of white Jewish people, what some people call the fake Jews. But then I think another reason why the Israeli Special Forces is doing that is because of the mistreatment of both the African immigrants and the Palestinians. South Africa used to be in trade agreements and maybe some kind of international relations. But now, because of what's happening, the South African leadership decided to end all ties with Israel. So South Africa has no more deals or trade deals with Israel. Yet, you have the special Israeli forces coming in to recruit the white South African farmers. You know the leadership of South Africa is not letting the Israelis in. The white racists in South Africa are somehow sneaking them in without the leadership knowing, unless, of course, they're seeing posts like this. It's posts like this and the RT, which is Russian media. I mean, I watched the RT network. They got some good news articles that the mainstream media refuse to put on the big news stations. That people, they have exposed the Israeli government for coming in to help the racist South African farmers to try to go after the leadership of South Africa. This is almost kind of the same stuff that they did try to do to get Mugabe out of Zimbabwe. They probably try to form a coup. Well, kind of a little different, but they try to get rid of Mugabe, and unfortunately they succeeded. Only that one was done by a military coup. This time, foreign powers are going to try to use the South African farmers to knock off the South African leadership. And if any of the EFF, Julius Malema, or any African nations happen to get this video, y'all need to align yourselves with the South African leadership and the black people of South Africa. The black people of Africa, of all African nations, must now unite to fight off against the white supremacist farmers and any foreign powers. Right now, the Israelis ain't the only foreign power in Africa that's causing trouble. You have non-white foreigners messing with the Africans. For example, the Chinese. Here's another one. Right now you have Kenyans activists protesting the Chinese backed coal-fired power plant. This is telling you right now, the Kenyans, they're starting to realize they do not want the Chinese there. At least the citizens and the activists do not want the Chinese there. The only reason why the Chinese are there in the first place is that you get corrupt, coonish leaders in power. So for the people who are protesting against the Chinese, need to create a revolution to get rid of the leadership that's cooning for the Chinese and put in a leadership like the one in South Africa, so they can end all trade ties with China. It is time for the Africans in the continent of Africa to fight for their entire continent back. Not just one nation, but their entire continent. So, let's go back Here in America, you have military veterans training racists. You have foreigners training white racist South Africans. White racist South Africans are being trained by foreigners like the Israelis. And you have the Chinese and other foreigners trying to create basically businesses in Africa and try to strip resources, because we know what this coal power plant is doing. It's stripping resources from Africa. And now the good news is the South African leadership hopefully has a powerful army and some allies within in Africa to fight against the white racists and the Israelis. The white South Africans are losing their land so they can return it back to the native people. You have some Africans protesting against the Chinese. But here in America, it's time for us here in America to start learning how to fight back. If any of these white-owned businesses disrespect us, right then and there is when we need to boycott and not go back. We're going to have to start having to train, see if our black veterans are willing to train us. Any black martial artists are willing to train us and other fighters. They may even get to a point where we may have to start practicing the Second Amendment right. I was kind of thinking about it. Maybe one day in the future I might try to look into getting a permit. Right now in the process of trying to get a passport because I'm trying to go to an overseas trip, but I may have to start thinking of a permit. And that's two types of documents that we need to start trying to get as well: passports and gun permits. That's just the paperwork side of what we have to do. If y'all plan on opening businesses, black community, we need to start getting deeds to open more black businesses. But as far as actually fighting physically against the white supremacists and racists, we're going to have to start learning hand-to-hand combat. We're going to have to start going to the working out, because that's what I'm about to start doing. We're going to have to start getting passports in case we have to leave, or because we know that some African nations are now starting, and some Caribbean nations are starting to invite black Americans. So we're going to have to start getting that passport work, that gun permit. We're going to have to start doing at least all or at least some of it now in order to combat racism, or to be in a safe haven so we can rebuild and create a nation of our own for the black community. These white racists are now getting real. We need to stop this cooning and buffooning. We need to stop thinking that swirling and interracial relationship will stop racing. Nope, it's not. Because I can show you a story later that shows you that interracial cooning, swirling, or having mixed kids, that's not going to work. That's not going to stop racism. I could show you a story about it. I might show a story about it in another video. So that's all I have to say. Hopefully share this video. I'll leave the links to the couple of articles that I just showed you. I will show you a link to the articles, all 3 articles, so you get the hang of what I'm talking about. I'll put them in the description box, in the comment section, or both. Share this video, share those articles. Leave comments in the comment section to see what you're talking about, what I'm talking about. I want to hear what you think about what I'm talking about. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me. If you see a notification bell hit or any kind of way to be notified of another video that I upload or when I do a live stream, please hit it so you'll know, get notifications. I do videos on Facebook. Sorry about that. I do videos on YouTube. I do videos on Black Junction TV, and I do videos on Black Spot TV. But that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time, and I hope to speak to you in another video.